time.
Make it so.
It's me, Mario.
I'm Batman. Strong am I with the Force.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
You're a wizard, Harry.
And welcome to World War G, episode 161. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
And I'm Colton.
Okay, so you may or may not know that we like superhero movies.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not common
bit.
knowledge, but for those that are in the they know.
It's really just like a slight interest.
Yeah, more of a passing glance than anything.
Yeah.
Well, here are 15 classic superhero movies that have not aged well. And I figure I would read the title, and then we could kind of discuss whether or not we agree.
Sounds good to me.
That'll work. That'll do, Troy. That'll do.
All right. At least it didn't say pig. Number 15, Superman. Now, this is the 1976 Superman, or 78 one of the two. Anyway, the original with Christopher Reeve.
Yeah. The thing about this movie is the special effects definitely have not aged well.
They have not.
They're practically nothing. They're all practical effects, jumping at certain, like, into scenes instead of flying and everything. But the fact that, like, I don't know, I think his transition from Superman to Clark Kent, like, when he's Clark Kent and talking to Lois Lane, and there's one scene in particular where he comes in as Clark, and he's all acting all nerdy and hunched over and everything, and then Lois turns her back, and he, like, straightens up, and like he starts to look like Superman.
Right.
And it's like a real physical change. Like, I think the social aspect of the movie has aged really well, but just not the appearance.
I would agree. Christopher Reeve did make a lot of choices as far as how he would portray Clark Kent, how he would portray Superman. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that aspect he has done better than any other actor who has played the character.
For sure.
But I would agree that those effects are not...
effects, and I would also say, like, costume design. I mean, I know that's the iconic looking original Superman, but, you know, you take a look at the ones that we've got today, and it's kind of night and day. Doesn't really have a leg to stand on.
And then as far as, like, things that happen in the movie that are plausible, flying around the Earth, right, to reverse the rotation will not turn back time, and I don't know why they thought that would happen, but that would never happen.
It would kill everybody on
For
Earth.
Sure.
All right. Number 14, Hellboy.
Oh man, this one has aged fairly well. I would say it holds up today with, like, some of the other Del Toro movies that we have.
Well, it's mostly practical effects, too, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's hardly any CGI except for the little thingies, whatever they're called.
Yes, and see, that's what I was
creatures.
That's what I was going to say, is I think a reason it does hold up is because of that. Because of the practical effects. It's kind of like a Star Wars type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it's... Yeah, I mean, the second one, they went a little bigger with the Golden Army and did more CGI, but that first one is still
pretty grounded.
I would still watch it. Like, I think the last time I watched it was like 4 years ago, and that's not long enough to where it would be like nostalgic.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I thought it was a great movie last time I watched it, so I don't know what they're smoking.
Okay, number 13. Batman. This is the 1989 Tim Burton Batman.
It's difficult because I'm looking through Batman tinted, glasses.
Batman tinted glasses.
Yeah.
Yep. I watched this movie at least if not once a year, at least twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love that movie. And yes, you can tell it's shot
Cheesy,
on
it's campy.
It's shot on a back lot, and Gotham is populated with like only 25 people, it looks like. But as far as like, I don't know, some of the action and effects, and you see a lot of like Batman's gadgets and stuff, I think it still holds up.
It's relevant, yeah.
I think it's totally watchable. Number 12, The Mask. Jim Carrey.
Oh man, this is one that I just didn't much care for it. I mean, it was alright, it was cool, like, as a little kid, you're like, oh, smoking, you know, and I don't know.
I loved this movie when I was a kid. I haven't seen it since
Me
then,
too.
so maybe I'll rewatch it, but I have very fond memories for this movie.
Yeah, when it first came out, I was in 4th grade, and that was actually one of the first impressions I started doing, was Jim Carrey's The Mask. Yeah. And so I actually became kind of popular in school because of that.
Oh man, wow.
Yeah.
So I was one of the
That's where
popular
Troy got
kids.
I
his
was.
notoriety.
My one and only time I ever was like really popular. And so because
Kids
of
are
that,
high-fiving him in the hallways, you know, like he's doing the double guns to teachers, and like nowadays if you try to do that, they'll just like take you to the principal's office, you know. He threatened me.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I do have a fondness for the movie, but watching it again, it's not good. It's kind of terrible.
Yeah. And that's like some of those old cartoons that you watch and you rewatch them and you're just like, oh geez.
Number 11, Blade. It's been a long time since I've watched this.
Same here, and it terrified me. Never watched it since.
Oh, okay.
I mean, when it first came, when did it come out? What year? Does it say in here?
I know it came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
Past it. I want to say like 98.
Okay, so I was 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
so it was just, I mean, for a young kid, it's kind of a darker movie too.
I don't know why you
Is
were
that because of the actors?
I don't know why you were seeing Blade at age 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
my uncles were terrible people.
Oh,
Let
okay.
me watch
Okay, makeup on this movie, from what I remember, because they have like the huge eyes, and the lifted eyebrows and kind of gnarly looking. That to me, I don't know, it seems pretty dated.
It was kind of Buffy-ish.
It was.
Vampires.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Number 10, X-Men. This is it's the first one that came out in 2000. Having rewatched this one recently, in the last couple of years, it's bad.
It is really bad. Super cheesy. So many plot holes. Like, I don't know why they would think.
Yeah, it's. I mean, at the time, I thought, "Oh man, this is awesome! Look, it's the X-Men. You got Wolverine and Professor X." Yeah, you watch it again, and it's terrible. The effects are okay.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, and the story's not that good. It's just, yeah.
Sabretooth
mess.
was there. Doesn't look anything like the new Sabretooth.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess. Number 9, Spider-Man. This is the Tobey Maguire one. They came out in 2002, I believe. Now, Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite movies with Dr. Octopus.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie.
The acting was like actually pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. And it's been a long time since I've seen the first one, but I remember even when it came out, looking at like Green Goblin's outfit.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like something out of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe's overacting he was doing, and
Boondock Saints-esque.
yeah, it was a little over the top, a little cheesy.
Speaking of which,
of that.
right?
Number 8, Batman the movie. This was back in the 60s, based on the 60s Batman TV show. Yeah, full-length movie, and I've seen this. This is the one with the shark repellent. That's where that came from, was this movie. And I think it's unfair to say this one is aged badly.
Because it was never intended to age well.
A spoof.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even
the
like
movie.
Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cult classic.
So I would disagree with this one. I mean, that's just kicking a dumb horse when it's down. You know, it was never meant to be ridden.
Mm-hmm. Mixing a bunch of metaphors.
A lot, yes.
Yeah.
Don't kick a dumb horse when it's down, guys.
Don't count your dumb horses before they hatch.
Yeah.
That's much
in
better.
baskets.
Yeah.
Because they might not be the brightest crayon in the drawer, but...
It's the sharpest in the shed.
Wow.
Number 7. The Rocketeer.
Never seen it or heard of it.
Seriously? I had the action figure. That was...
I have an action figure over there somewhere. Yeah, he's right there.
Uh-huh.
Oh, down there?
Yeah, up by my John Stockton bobblehead.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't born or I wasn't alive when this came out, and neither were you guys.
Yeah,
I was.
were?
We were alive. Yes, we were alive. Because I remember seeing this.
So it's just based in the 30s.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like made in 1990. It was before you were alive. Yeah, it was like 92, 93, something
This
like
one
that.
reminded me a lot of or it was reminiscent of The Great Waldo Pepper. And I did like all the aspects except for when he's actually flying around, that you can tell it's pretty dang fake.
I remember last time I saw this movie all the way through. It's probably been like 15 years. It's been a long time. I do love the Rocketeer's costume, though. I think it's really cool looking.
I saw somebody that cosplayed as him last time at Comic-Con, and it was pretty spot on. Even the backpack looked pretty legit and steampunk-esque.
Yeah.
So
I've wanted to be the Rocketeer for like Comic-Con.
mm-hmm. It would have to be done right. Like,
Was this
it
directed
would,
by
yeah.
Tim Burton?
No, it was directed by shoot.
Because this outfit screams Tim Burton.
Yeah.
This costume.
It does. I'd have to look it up again, but yeah, that was during a time in the 90s when they loved making movies out of old 30s superheroes.
Mhm.
Like they did that one, they did the Phantom, they did the Shadow.
Did the Swamp Thing.
Yeah, number 6. But we can agree Rocketeer does not hold up. Number 6, Swamp Thing. I've never seen this.
neither have I.
Me neither.
All right, moving on. Number 5.
Have you seen this one, Troy?
Once or twice.
Perhaps.
This one I vehemently disagree with. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now this is, I'm assuming they're doing the one from 1990, the first one. Which, if you go back and watch it, parts of it are dark and really serious. Now, if you want to go ones that don't hold up, 2 and 3
Yeah, well, especially 3.
are really bad.
Yeah.
But that first one, no, I disagree. I think it's still really good.
Even the animatronics is pretty decent for getting the mouth to move in sync with what they're saying.
Yeah.
That's difficult to do. They had quite a few people working on that.
They did, yeah. Because they had the one guy off camera that was working the mouth like a hand puppet, and another joystick that was working the eyes and stuff. Then you had the actor inside the suit that was doing the actions.
Okay, you know how they always talk about with the Batman movies that this is finally the Batman one where he can actually move his neck and move his head around. They were able to do that with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
As well as get the shoulders and be able to do ninja fighting styles and moves in these over the top huge. That's a daunting task.
Yeah, the production of those movies or especially that first one, was huge. It was quite the undertaking.
Yeah.
Number 4, The Crow. You guys seen it?
I have seen it.
I haven't seen it all the way through.
It's all right. It's kind of a lot like Blade and some of those other ones. but the acting, I would say, is what like would fall short and wouldn't hold up so much. Because I mean, it was like a couple one-liners and just going around the story.
Well, I remember when it came out, people at school. I mean, I was in elementary school at the time. They're like, "Oh man, the Crow's so cool, dude! You got to see the Crow, man! It's so awesome, dude! He comes back to life, man!"
And then Troy's over there smoking.
Yeah. Like, oh, you still got it, man! You still got it.
4 years later, your impression still holds up.
Number 3, The Meteor Man.
Didn't even know that was a thing.
I've never seen it either.
I thought it was LeVar Burton right there.
Who is that? I know it's not LeVar Burton. I can't remember his name.
Dr. Doolittle?
No. We'll move on from that one because we've never seen it. Number 2, another one I also may disagree with, Unbreakable.
I wholeheartedly disagree with this because I never heard of this movie until I watched Split and heard that it was
really
based after it, like with Glassman and everything. And so I watched this literally within the last 6 months, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. So I disagree 100%.
Samuel L. Jackson, I thought his character was a little bit, like, weak.
Yeah.
If there was anything, like, weak about the... I don't know. For the most part, no, I like this movie.
It's, like, if...
I feel like if it was redone today, they could do a fantastic job with it just because of the special effects and things like that. But other than that, I think it was great.
It's one of the best superhero origin stories that I've seen in a long time. It's great. And number 1, Superman 2. Wow, taking shots at Superman on this list. Surprise, surprise.
Oh my God.
Ping, ping.
I mean, this one suffers from the same thing as the first one. I mean, they were filmed fairly close together. Plus, that Superman 2 was plagued with all kinds of problems. You know, the original director left and they had to bring in a new director, and so they had to splice everything together, and it just...
Which that's got to be difficult because so much of movies rely on chemistry, not only with the actors, but with the director as well. You know? Yeah. And to get like a completely different feel and to try to... Because it would be difficult because you'd either, as a director, you'd want to come in and kind of try to keep the fluidity and keep everything the same, or be like, hey, I'm revamping this. This is my movie, you know? So.
Well, see, and the thing is, it's really easy to say, oh man, this movie could have been so much better if they had waited until they had really good special effects. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, these movies kicked off the superhero, movie franchise.
They did, yeah.
I don't think that any of the superhero movies we've seen in the last, 20, 30 years would have happened without these original Superman movies.
Yeah, I agree. And again, if you're going to go after Superman movies, again, 3 and 4 are terrible. Terrible films.
It's kind of easy picking.
It's just ones that, because this list is ones that don't hold up.
That's true.
Those ones never have a leg to stand on.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Okay. So
feel free to let us. Yeah. Before we take a break, I was just gonna say, feel free to let us know if there's any other ones that should be on this list.
And if anybody says any MCU film,
so help me,
I'm coming after you.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
On the historic streets of Ogden, there are 2 kinds of people, readers and non-readers. Here's where you can find their stories.
Booked on 25th Street, located at 147 Historic 25th Street, Ogden, Utah, 84401.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to our friend Marcy. You can pick up a new or used book, or you can sell your own used books.
That's right, you can get 10% store credit on what they can sell the book for.
Stop in and say hi, or call them at 801-529-7720. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/bookedon25th, or you can email them at marcy@bookedon25th.com, or visit their website, bookedon25th.com.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back.
Guess who's also back? Black Widow.
So guess who's black?
Boom! Orange is the new black.
Her orange hair.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. we all know my love for characters with, orange hair.
Mm-hmm.
One of the longest running fan complaints in Marvel Cinematic Universe has been the studio's reluctancy to give Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, her own standalone film. But now it looks like the studio is finally serious about making the project happen. This is because Disney, is stepping up, I guess.
She doesn't have any superpowers. It's going to be lame.
What?
Batman doesn't have any superpowers?
Yeah.
He's rich.
That's true.
Variety reports the studio has hired screenwriter Jack Scoffer to write a script for as an yet untitled film. The project is reportedly still in the development stage without a formal green lit in place, but the fact that Marvel is even developing a Black Widow movie is significant. So, take a guess, if you guys can remember, when Johansson first debuted as the Black Widow.
Iron Man 2.
2. When
Yep,
she's
back in 2010.
helping out Happy. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It kind of goes on to talk about that since she's been such a significant character, and then it goes on this kind of, woman rant about, that is about time, and it's I don't think that it has anything to do with that. She's just always been a second tier Avenger,
That's true. And here's the other weird thing. They've been talking about this so long that, Black Widow can't hold a movie on her own, blah, blah, blah. It's not an interesting character. But they're coming out with this movie called Red Sparrow with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Basically the Black Widow's origin.
Yeah.
In
a nutshell.
Yeah. Almost beat for beat. It's the same origin.
Has ScarJo said anything about it?
Not that I've heard, no.
She got all upset and tweets about it or something. And we've talked about this before, that it would have to be some sort of a prequel, so it doesn't really mess up anything. And they have enough material. They've always alluded to the fact that her and Hawkeye have done tons of missions together.
Yeah, you get her where she was in Russia. She was, going on missions. She's basically a vigilante or a hitman or hitwoman.
Kind of a little bit like Atomic Blonde.
Yeah.
See, then maybe instead of an origin movie, they need to do an origin TV show. But the only problem with that is they wouldn't be able to use the same actors and actresses as they do in the movies, because you know how they don't like crossing over.
Yeah.
I would still be okay with that. If we got a younger actress and a couple other characters that wanted to do their own things, kind of an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, good for them for making it, but it's we'll see.
If she actually says okay, because as a character, that requires a lot of athleticism, right?
Yeah, it does.
And not saying that she couldn't, and she's definitely up to the task, but it's difficult as it goes on. That'd be like asking Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. to do all these crazy stunts. I mean, more or less, he's just in the suit, right? When he's doing these crazy over the top things.
Well, and with him,
just filming his face.
Yeah, I was gonna say with him, it's just CG. Most of the time, you see Iron Man, it's CG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but with her, you'd have to get out. It's not like she's 60 or something. She's only a year or two older than us.
True.
34, 35. So, I mean, it's not.
Troy, Troy, I sneeze and bat my back.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. It's happened.
Can it? And it doesn't. It's not like she looks any different. I mean, she's looked the same since she was 20.
Yeah,
So
it's true. All right. So we've been talking a lot about superhero films, so I thought this would be interesting to talk about. Jodie Foster believes that, what does she say? Superhero blockbusters are ruining moviegoing, Jodie Foster says. Superhero films are insanely popular, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe having passed $5 billion at the domestic box in November with the release of Thor Ragnarok. Even Warner Brothers, which stumbled with Justice League, found critical and commercial success with Wonder Woman. Still, there are those who fear these blockbusters are ruining Hollywood. While
they legitimately fear.
Yeah, they're afraid.
They have superhero movie phobia.
While speaking with Radio Times about her episode of Netflix's Black Mirror, director-actress Jodie Foster discussed the current state of cinema, saying studios have transformed films into, quote, theme parks. She explained that Hollywood studios are making bad content in order to appeal to the masses and rake in money, stating that those efforts will grant them the best return now in exchange for wrecking the state of cinema.
How about we just have that lamb stay silent?
And it's DC making the bad content.
Well,
if we're being honest.
She says it's ruining the viewing habits of the American population and then ultimately the rest of the world, Foster said.
I don't want to your panic room, Foster. I want to see how many I can do.
Yeah. I don't want to make $200 million movies about superheroes. Yeah, well, And while Foster appears to have no plans to hop on the superhero train anytime soon, she did state that perhaps she'd be interested in making a film about a superhero if, and only if, they had a, quote, really complex psychology. Despite her issues with superhero films, the Hollywood's love of huge blockbusters, Foster seems willing to sign on for one should it prove to be more of a character piece than another run-of-the-mill action film.
If that were the case, then she'd sure be, one of the brave ones.
Honestly, they could do that with, like...
that was shoehorned a little bit, but, like, come on.
A little bit. That was a little bit of a push there.
I don't know. I feel like if they did make, like, a Black Widow movie, for example, with Scarlett Johansson, they could do a really complex character movie rather than something that's just run and gun. And
yeah.
They could, yeah. They could delve into different avenues with it and take some liberties.
And I see what she's saying. In the fact that, these superhero films, they're easy to digest. They're for everybody. They make money. That makes sense. And it's the little independent films that are going to suffer because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because people don't want to go to these more quiet films, like something like The Post, for example, with Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, which should be doing a lot better than it is.
Well, that's also because it's in really good company with quite a few other great movies. I mean, I was looking at the just to see what was in theaters, and there's about like 4 or 5 of them that I'm like, wow, these are really like solid movies.
Yeah. But, it's the audience now, I think she's saying the audience wants these big blockbuster films. They don't want to see these smaller, quieter films.
And I don't know if that's the case. I think that like the problem that they run into with these bigger blockbuster movies is they do kind of try to make it so they can market and make merchandise.
Yeah,
that's half. I mean, if not, they make more money off the merchandise than they do off the movie itself. But I still think like Sundance is alive and well, and you had like a movie just last year. I mean, just not too long ago, Get Out, and some of these other ones that. If it's a great movie, I think people are still going to see it. I don't know.
That's true.
And those are the movies that you don't see like any of the Marvel movies that are making, any runs for Emmys.
Yeah, they don't win awards.
They don't.
That's, yeah.
Except for like breaking box office numbers.
Yes, that's about it. But I see what she's saying.
Right.
But at the same time, eventually superhero films will start to drop off.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we're just kind of in the midst of it, and it's as much as we probably don't want to admit it, it's a fad, and eventually it'll fade.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why it's stuck around so long is because the fact that it's superheroes that are being up on the screen. Like, everybody idolizes superheroes and has always wanted to be one, so they can pretend just for a little while they're in the movie that they are one.
Yeah.
Is that what you do, Colton?
That's what I do. Freak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, this has happened before, because I mean, like back in the 50s, westerns were all the rage.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were cheap to make, and they made money.
Right. Absolutely.
And eventually they faded out.
So during that time, I'm sure you had other actors and actresses that were making like other movies. They're like, these stupid westerns.
You had Sir Laurence Olivier out there saying, no, these westerns, they're ruining films.
Right.
Orson Welles getting all up in arms.
They just happen to be in the midst of something like this coming along. I'm sure they say the same thing about television, with like The Walking Dead and zombies and vampires and everything else. It's like ruining. It's like, no, just make something decent that people are going to watch. And even if it flies under the radar, they'll still eventually see it and it'll get notoriety.
And sorry, Jodie Foster, that people didn't want to see a movie about Mel Gibson with a beaver puppet on his hand.
Yeah.
I actually like that one though,
Yes,
quite a bit.
Actually,
it was
actually kind of good.
It was. And it was right during the Mel Gibson time where he was already a nut job, so it's like, wow, they really shoehorned this guy in here. He was typecast for it.
But I don't think a whole lot of people went and saw that. But
yeah, which is weird with a title like that,
Well, you think it'd be more? Yeah. It's like, oh, I saw the beaver once already. I saw that movie. Didn't have Mel Gibson in it though.
Oh, wow. So, since Disney has purchased
6 sequels too. Sorry. Sorry, continue. Sorry.
It's all good. Since Disney officially announced that it bought 20th Century Fox, all kinds of questions have been popping up about what the massive sale will mean for the future of some of our most beloved characters. Troy's like, oh, geez.
He's yawning over
here.
Yeah.
One of the most pressing questions revolves around Deadpool, with Disney attempts to scrub up its R-rating image, and therefore kill nearly everything that is great about the character to begin with. Well, we now have an answer, straight from the Disney CEO himself, and fans are breathing a huge sigh of relief. Deadpool clearly has been and will be Marvel branded, but we think there might be an opportunity for a Marvel R brand of something like Deadpool, said Disney CEO Bob Iger. According to the Hollywood Reporter, as long as we let the audience know what's coming, which that's with rated R, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as we know what the audience know what's coming, we think that we can manage that fine. Not only does this mean Deadpool will keep its rated R persona, but it also suggests that Disney is down to dive deep into the more mature movies, which is pretty exciting. I think as long as they let it be its own thing and all these other movies and don't step on its toes, they're going to make money, and that's what, at the end of the day, that's what they want.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, Disney is a business. And they see that Deadpool made money. Much to my chagrin, but it did. It made money, and so they're not going to be like, oh, nope, that made a ton of money. Nah.
Yeah.
Pass. Thanks.
Right?
Well, and Ryan Reynolds already got rid of the previous director for creative differences. Do you really think that if they change... I think that if they changed the rating to something more family-friendly, I think he would walk.
I think he would, too.
And there's no Deadpool movie without Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. And it's not like this is something that Disney's never done before. They've owned several movie companies that
people just haven't known about it.
Yeah,
it's not been in the limelight.
Yeah, Miramax was owned by Disney, and they put out all kinds of rated R films. So it's not like they're so squeaky clean that they're not gonna even touch characters like this. No, of course they are.
Right.
Money, money, money.
Yeah, because Disney does not like to make money.
Nope, not at all.
No, that's not their thing.
That's why they don't have $15 soft drinks at their theme park.
Yeah, exactly. Which a sucker like me will still shovel out the money to get. All right. Batgirl. Lindsay Lohan campaigning for lead role.
Boo to that.
Please, Hollywood, just make her stop.
Yeah.
Mean Girls star Lindsay Lohan has taken to Twitter to campaign for the role of Batgirl in Joss Whedon's upcoming DC Comics-based film. The actor is looking...
Did you see how it said, like, Mean Girl? Like, when was that one made? That's like M. Night Shyamalan being from the creator of The Sixth Sense. Like, dude, it's like 15, 20 years later.
That's because she hasn't done anything since.
Yeah.
The actor is looking to make a return to what made her famous by setting her sights on Joss Whedon's Batgirl, taking to Twitter to suggest fans tell Whedon she should nab the titular role. It's currently unknown how far into the screenplay Whedon is, as he's stated before that things are still in the early stages. The fan favorite writer and director has previously expressed interest in casting an unknown for the role, seemingly taking Lohan out of contention for the gig.
She's kind of an unknown.
At this point, yeah.
Right? Well, okay. I was just thinking about all the Lindsay Lohan movies that I could think of, and she can't really act. Freaky Friday.
Parent Trap.
Yeah. She's good in certain roles. I mean, she was good in Mean Girls.
She should know her role, is what you're saying, Troy?
Well, not so much that. She's not like, a classically trained
She's
actress.
a one-trick pony.
She is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. Last year, Lohan scored her first acting role in years alongside Harry Potter's Rupert Grint in the UK comedy Sick Note. Anybody see that?
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She most recently starred in the crime horror film titled The Shadow Within.
Nope.
From director Diego Mesquiada. This is not the first role the actress has campaigned for. Just last year, Lohan took to Instagram to show interest in starring in Disney's live-action The Little Mermaid as Ariel.
Oh, yeah, because you really want her to be the role model for your children.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wouldn't look good in that role.
No. She's like all bones, ribs.
Cigarettes underwater.
Yeah.
All its stretch marks and stuff. You don't want to... like Batgirl, little is currently known regarding Disney's forthcoming adaptation of this classic film.
Okay, if we didn't have to... I mean, I'm all for casting an unknown because I think that would pay off. Plus, with a director like Joss Whedon, I'm not too concerned. But any celebrities that would be pretty good for the role of Batgirl that you can think of?
I always
even
thought,
if it's in like TV shows, like pull them from TV into the movies.
In her younger days, well, maybe she could do it now, but I always thought Mila Kunis would be good in a superhero role, like a Supergirl or a Batgirl or something like that. I always thought she'd be good.
What about the sister of Oliver Queen in Arrow?
Oh yeah, what's that actress's name? I can't remember. But yeah, she wouldn't be too bad. And I don't know. I haven't really been keeping up on my young Hollywood actresses.
Neither have I.
No.
So I'm not entirely sure. But I'm guessing Whedon will go with an unknown.
A Hispanic girl would be. It would be pretty. It would work fine.
Yeah,
I'd be cool with
sure.
that.
All right, let's take another break, and when we come back, let's see what we got. We got Black Panther, We got James Bond,
Stan Lee,
Suicide Squad,
Animaniacs.
Yeah.
We got it all. We got all the news.
And more. So be back right after this.
Are you feeling nostalgic about your music listening needs?
Do you like the tonal quality that only a record can provide?
Then go check out Lavender Vinyl, located at 123 25th Street, Ogden, Utah.
Yeah, go talk to Kylie or Blake. They have a large selection of new and used records. They will also buy your old records, maybe the ones that are just sitting up there in the attic, gathering dust. And if you can't find anything, they'll be more than happy to pre-order it for you. Now, you can always find them at lavendervinyl@gmail.com. You can also check out their website, lavendervinyl.com, or give them a call on the phone, like a normal person, at 385-240-0336.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode. Some lesbian love going on.
Oh, man.
There was. That was unexpected. I figure most of the time Troy's always recording, so I don't care what I say.
Well, Billie Jean King was a lesbian.
Yeah.
Was. She's still alive.
Was. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Billie Jean.
It was really a good movie though. I liked it. It had a lot of heart. Okay, speaking of other movies.
Sweet les action.
Some lesbian love. Well, it was just unexpected. I was just watching the movie, and all of a sudden, I actually could see where it was going, because it was really, like, the girl was just like, hey, I don't have a place to stay. Hey, would you like to stay at my place? I'm like, oh, man. Oh, yeah. That was actually really pretty good, Drew.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Black Panther has the biggest first-day ticket pre-sales of any Marvel movie. Ryan Coogler's Black Panther is already set to have huge debut at the box office. In February, Fandango reported that the first 24 hours of tickets pre-sales for the film were the largest it is ever seen for a Marvel movie. The record was previously held by, are you reading this, or
yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Captain America Civil War, which was released in 2016. In a press release, Fandango also reported results for a user survey saying Black Panther was 2018's second most anticipated movie, behind Avengers Infinity War, and that the star Chadwick Boseman was the most anticipated standalone comic book movie hero. Okay, sometimes when they do these different surveys, I mean, they narrow it down to how many other ones are there. I mean, I know that they've got a couple of them that are planning.
I don't know. And then another factor, and Troy, you could correct me on this, but I feel like I've been to the movie theater a few times in the last few weeks.
Uh-huh.
It seems like they've really advertised the pre-sale of these tickets more than any other movie that I've seen.
They have, yeah.
They've been pushing the pre-purchase, purchase them before the movie comes out, which I don't think that a lot of other movies do that.
They have been hitting this one pretty hard.
Yeah. Any particular reason why? They just wanted to do really well?
Unfortunately, and they shouldn't be, maybe they're worried.
They might be. Well, it's the first pretty much all African-American superhero movie.
Yeah. And so I don't think there's any reason to be worried, but maybe, Disney's like, well, just in case.
Just to be on the safe side.
Let's really push the pre-sales on
Do you think it's going to have kind of a Twilight effect with it? Where you'll get the initial rush, and then it'll kind of die off and taper off rather quickly?
I don't think so.
Me neither. I think it's going to hold the momentum pretty well. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Me too.
But holding the momentum, I get that, and I mean, if word of mouth says that it's really good, yeah, it'll prolong it quite a bit. But what I'm thinking is this going to be a movie that you could see yourself seeing A couple of times. I mean, I know this is like preemptive because we haven't even we've only seen trailers.
Yeah.
But
Well, maybe-
like with Infinity War, I already know I'm going to see it like 2 or 3 times.
Right.
Right? I mean, there's certain movies that you're just like, oh, I'm for sure Star Wars. I'm going to go see that one a couple of times.
Well, here's the thing with me and Black Panther. I don't know a lot about the character or the backstory, or the other characters that are in it. So I don't know. I can't say if I'm going to see it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
a lot because I don't know.
Well, and the hard part is, like, for example, Star Wars. Sorry, I'm trying to get my stand goal. Anyways, for Star Wars, like, people have been waiting years and years and years for these movies to come out. So, of course, they're gonna, come be excited and see it more than one time. And same with Avengers Infinity Wars. You're gonna see it multiple times because you've been waiting, 16 years? That's when Iron Man first...
2008.
Okay, so 10 years.
Yeah.
You've been waiting 10 years for all of these
It is a
movies to come
culmination
together.
of it, yeah, for sure.
I think that's a big factor as well. But I don't know. If it's a great movie, it will spread. And
Well, okay, I mean, in that same vein, I guess it's also piggybacking off of all the fame that that all these other Marvel movies have done.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
know?
I think that if Black Panther wasn't in Civil War, I don't think this movie would do that well.
Right. Not as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a point, yeah.
Yeah?
Because I think it's the same thing. I don't think a lot of people know this character.
Yeah, now he's established and people want to know more about his backstory.
Yeah. Plus, they've had him in Infinity War trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And so, people are excited to see more of this character.
Well, and he's going to be a big part of Infinity Wars as well, because we saw the Wakanda warriors and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it looked like it was taking place. Like at least a large battle.
So will it be the biggest Marvel movie? Probably not.
For sure,
I think it'll be up there with like Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man,
okay.
These type of movies.
Have you guys ever, I know this is like more of a sports kind of a thing, but what Vegas always does is they give people the odds, right? And you can always take the over or the under on it. So if we were to set kind of a movie, and then we'll either take the over and the under of it. So the movie that I was thinking, that I had in mind, is kind of similar, Wonder Woman. So, not the box office numbers, but what it does, like, for the length that it's in the movie theater. Is it going to be over or under Wonder Woman?
I think it'll be over.
Over?
I'm going to go with over as well.
I think, just because, it was such a breakout film, I'm personally going to take the under, but not by much. I would say it's within 20 million.
I'm going to say that it's over just for the sheer fact that it's Marvel.
How much over? I guess we'd have to pull up Wonder Woman.
What do you think it's going to make, like, total, when we do that? Like, total box office, what do you think this movie's going to make?
I don't know. Give me a baseline.
Well, can we pull up here? Let's see.
Like, a good, solid movie, like a Marvel, middle-of-the-road Marvel movie will make at least 110 million, 120 million.
Pulling up Wonder Woman.
Weekend or just
the entire run?
The entire run?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got domestic total gross is 412 million.
For Wonder Woman?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's a lofty goal.
That's true.
Right? That's why I'm saying, like, I could see it being 380 million.
I'm still going to stick with over. I don't think it's going to be much over than that.
Okay.
I'm going to say, what was the one on Wonder Woman? What was the number?
412.
I'm going to say it makes at least total run, all, whole time it's in theaters. I say it makes 420 million.
Okay. It'll just to give you kind of like to let you know where it's sitting at. It made 103 million opening weekend.
Okay.
That was Wonder Woman. So I do think he'll do better than that. But we'll see.
I don't know. I think that black audiences are so excited for this movie. And I think that just that alone will kick it over the top.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's ridiculous. We've talked about this before. The Tyler Perry movies. Like, he's one of the highest, like, paid, person. You look at, like, how much he's worth, his net worth. It's ridiculous. He's even above, like, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it's
and
massive.
Tom Hanks and some of these other ones. Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. It's ridiculous.
All right, well, it'll be interesting to see.
We'll have to keep track of that and just remember what we said on this episode.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to James Bond. Now, the reason I brought up this story is I know, AJ, you're a big fan of James Bond.
Very much so. Yeah.
So I wanted to get your opinion on this.
All right.
The next James Bond, 007 producer says next James Bond could be female or black.
We're talking after, because they've already got Daniel Craig for the next one.
The next actor that they choose, not the next James Bond movie.
007 producer Barbara Broccoli has confirmed the possibility that a woman and or person of color could take over the mantle of James Bond when Daniel Craig ends his time in the role. While speaking with the Daily Mail, Broccoli was asked if viewers, as the article put it, quote, could expect to see a female Bond or a black 007 in the future. She says, "These films tend to reflect the times, so we always try to push the envelope a little bit," she responded. "Anything is possible. Right now it's Daniel Craig, and I'm very happy with Daniel Craig. But who knows what the future will bring?" Daniel Craig's return to the franchise for Bond 25 was confirmed last year after he sparked several years of speculation with his infamous interview in 2015, in which he said he'd rather slash his wrist than play Bond again. Idris Elba, Tom Hiddleston, Michael Fassbender, and Charlize Theron are some of the names that were tossed around by fans as potential Bonds, while rumors circulate British actor James Norton is the current frontrunner to take over for Craig.
Personally, I would be perfectly fine with like a black actor that takes over the mantle of Bond. That would be pretty cool.
I would too.
I would be kind of a little reluctant with a woman actress at first, just because I would be worried, like, not because of like what she'll do with it, because that's fine, but I would be worried that they would try to be like, okay, now we're gonna make also we're gonna make that a guy, and we're gonna, you know what I mean? They're gonna like throw it and shove it in your face to get the point across that, hey, times have changed.
See, and that's not the reason why I wouldn't want a woman James Bond. And the reason being is because if we're being realistic, this isn't set in a Marvel universe where they have people like Black Widow. But just physically speaking, men on average are stronger and, just average, and I just don't think it would be as realistic to have a female super spy.
That, and it would also come across as, okay, because there is, like, we can admit it, there's a double standard when it comes to a womanizer guy, he's seen as like a player, right? And James Bond is a player in all essence of the world. He can get pretty much any woman he wants, right? And it would be kind of interesting if she's just like taking guys left and right, whoever she wants, and it would just, that
would be degrading toward the character if the character was female, and I don't think that women would appreciate that either.
That's true, and also wouldn't be. I don't think her name would be James Bond, right?
Jamie Bond.
Yeah. Yeah. So then the main
female James Bond.
If looks could kill.
Then like the main like her love interest would be a guy, and instead of a name like Octopus or something, it'd be like Dick Dragon or something like that.
Yeah. There's, I don't know. There's just certain aspects of Bond that wouldn't really translate well.
Right.
And for a woman to take the mantle.
So we're saying basically African American actor, yes. Yeah. Female actor, maybe not so much.
And I thought of a joke that I'll say off off air that I would get in trouble if I said over there.
Oh, come on.
I'll try and remember it.
All
right. Suicide Squad 2.
Suicide Squad 2. Will Smith, Margot Robbie, and Jared Leto reportedly returning. A new report details the creative changes happening with the DC film Suicide Squad 2. Also seems to provide some major casting confirmations. In Variety reports that producer Michael De Luca has stepped in to handle the Suicide Squad sequel. We also get the following. Gavin O'Connor is on board to write and direct the sequel. I don't even know who that is. Are you familiar with him?
No.
Right? Suicide Squad will also have Will Smith, Margot Robbie, and Jared Leto. Will Smith and Margot returning, but it was kind of uncertain with whether the Joker is confirmed or not. This, to me, they should have not had him as a side character to begin with, like in the original, like in the first one. That was kind of a mistake. They should have had him as the main villain. I mean, there was quite a few things wrong with this movie.
Yes,
but to see that he's actually on board to reprise his role is kind of interesting and kind of neat. But I feel like they could do a better job if they had a standalone Harley Quinn, Joker movie. That's where you could highlight him, not in Suicide Squad. Like in Suicide Squad, these guys are going around taking on. I mean, they're forced to take on other people, and they have to kind of come together. And we got that in the first one. Is it really necessary to have a second sequel?
No.
Cut their losses, like say, hey, Wonder Woman helped to hide Suicide Squad's flaws.
Yeah, I mean, I see why they're doing it, because I think they're using it to introduce new characters, new villains. I think there's talk that they're going to introduce Black Adam, Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam in Suicide Squad 2. But I think you're right. Their biggest flaw there was they didn't have the Joker as the main antagonist. He wasn't the main villain.
Yeah.
And he needed to be.
He was just kind of a side note, and he kept appearing periodically throughout the whole entire movie. It
was unnecessary. So I think if you give him a movie where he is the main bad guy, I think he can do a lot with it. Because he said that in the first one, his character, it was cut down a lot.
It really was.
And he had a lot in that movie, but they trimmed it down.
Even with the extended, I did watch the extended version of it. And, I mean, it made a little bit more sense, and it didn't make him seem quite so, OCD, where he's just all over the place.
Yeah.
It still wasn't all that good. So, okay, this is kind of a two-part question here, Troy and Colton. If we were going back in time and erasing Suicide Squad to begin with, how would we have actually made that movie? And then with introducing and what we know about Suicide Squad 2, what do you think should happen with this movie?
So, what you're asking, what would we have done with
the first one?
With the first one,
right?
Not have the Joker at all.
Really?
I didn't like Jared Leto's character even a tiny bit. The opposite of liked it. I disliked it.
Whoa.
I think I would say, okay, keep the Joker and keep Jared Leto as him, but just the way he portrayed him was very strange, and that wasn't Joker-esque to me.
No, it really was. Yeah, it wasn't.
So keep the Joker in there. That's fine, and have Harley Quinn. Have it where it's the plot goes where Harley Quinn has to make a decision whether she continues with the Suicide Squad that's kind of become this foster family for her that she never had because Joker always treated her bad, or she goes back to the Joker.
Because she has always had like Stockholm Syndrome for the Joker.
And teams up with him again.
I think they could have done something really kind of unique if they did have the Joker in the original one, because the thing about the Suicide Squad is they're on a leash. These are all villains that have been tamed. But you've got the Joker who isn't tamed. You know, he can do whatever the heck he wants. He's not on this short leash. He can do... So you've got him terrorizing and manipulating things and almost utilizing what he knows the government will do against them. I don't know. That's the direction I think I would have went with the first one.
Yeah. Definitely leave out the Enchantress and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, keep Harley Quinn, keep Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, Killer Croc, you can leave him out. The Fire Dude, El Diablo, you can leave him out.
That they could have introduced like Black Adam then.
Yeah. Keep Rick Flag in there because he's kind of the link to the military. And just kind of leave with those characters. You can even bring in like maybe even Captain Cold from The Flash, you know?
Yeah.
Or, you know, another villain like that.
And then as far as the second one goes, the direction, because you've already got the, like it or not, you've got the first one, so you have to build upon that.
The second one, I think what you would do is, instead of going after villains, go after heroes. Maybe not, you know, A-level, Superman, Batman, but go after, introduce some of the C-B level heroes.
That they're taken out.
Yeah, that they're trying to go get. It would be a good way to introduce maybe like the Teen Titans. You know, get Robin in there.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing.
So have they broken away from the military? I mean, they suit up and work together, but at the same time, they're no longer working so much for the government? Because, or I guess, is the government also trying to take care of these vigilante superheroes?
Yeah, that would be my thing. Yeah, they're still working for the government. But the new thing is, well, we can't, you know, these superheroes, these vigilantes, you know, they're getting out of control. They're getting hard to handle.
Yeah.
So let's try to thin them out a little bit, and then I would say Suicide Squad versus the Teen Titans.
You could almost go a little bit like what they did with the Marvel movie, where you've got these superheroes that they have the best intentions at heart, but they also destroy parts of the city. You know, they make mistakes or whatnot, you know, and they're just like, hey, these guys, as good as they want to be, you know, they're still doing their own thing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and they're still villains. They're still hated, which would be an interesting take because, you know, Superman and Batman are so beloved and people like them so much. You know, the general population likes them. Then you got these ragtag team of supervillains that people hate.
Yeah.
And even though they're trying to do good, you know, they still hate them because they're villains.
Well, and even like what you said, AJ, you could build off the momentum that Batman versus Superman started, where that's the reason why Batman wanted to take out Superman, so they could use, you know, that idea. So taking out people that are destroying cities and not thinking about the repercussions and stuff.
Yeah. I like it.
All right. We did have a couple more stories, but we're running a little long, so we'll go to break, and when we come back, we have several things that we're going to review. So we'll be back right after this.
We'll be right back.
Thanks, Joy. Hi, everybody. This is Sean Ray.
And John Irons.
And we're the hosts of Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast. We're a show that has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we talk about movies and TV and cartoons, entertainment news, and every show has a different theme.
That's right. We might discuss anything from our favorite bad movies to who would win in a fight between C-3PO and the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. That was episode 41, a classic. You can download that episode and all of our other episodes on iTunes and Stitcher. We're on Podcast Addict and, of course, on our website, cosmicpotato.com.
It's special guests and movie nudes and geeky nerddom and nerdy geekery and lightsabers and Time Lords and Ninja Turtles all the way down. So check out Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast.
And we're back. So we've all seen things, and now we're going to talk about the things we've seen.
There you go. It's like The Sixth Sense all over again.
So you guys have already seen Jumanji. Well,
Yes.
you had already seen it, and we talked about it on previous episodes. But I just went and saw it recently. Not this weekend, but the weekend before. I think it was Sunday. It was after our last episode. Anyways, I saw it, and I really enjoyed it. I went in with actually not high hopes because I didn't think that it was going to be that great. But everyone kept saying to go see it and that it was awesome. As its own movie, I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. Like I know you said that you don't really like Kevin Hart all that much.
Not a lot, no.
And Jack Black is kind of hit miss.
Yeah, but Kevin Hart, I mean, he's always my favorite part of any movie that he's in. But I think the comedy was awesome. It was a little cheesy, the stuff that happened and everything. And comparing it to the original, it's a lot more like lighthearted and family friendly.
Yeah.
Which I guess I'm okay with. I would have liked it if they had continued the same type of, like, have it just be the same type, but just a video game. But I can see why they went a little bit more family friendly.
But they did make it, like, they connected it really well.
Yeah,
Both movies.
Mm-hmm. There was one really big plot hole. I won't talk about it here because spoilers, just in case anyone hasn't seen it yet. But other than that, I thought it was a really great movie.
It's another one of those things you'll tell us off the air, if you remember.
Yeah.
Sweet.
The rating, what should we rate it out of? What did you guys do? Lives?
Lives is actually, that would work. Yeah. I don't remember what we did, but yeah, we can do that.
Out of 5 lives, I'd give it a 2.5, 3.
Okay. I think that's about what we gave it, right?
Yeah,
I think
I gave it straight line. Yeah.
I think I gave it a 3. All right. I saw Guillermo del Toro's latest film.
It's like one of those names that you have to take a run at.
Yeah.
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 It really is. You can't just just start, You have to gear yourself up.
Takes a second.
Yeah.
I saw his latest movie called The Shape of Water.
I'm really disappointed that this is only in select theaters, and it's so crazy because we do have Sundance and all these indie films, and Sundance is just coming up next week, but we are so limited when it comes to this.
But I did manage to see this.
Yeah.
In certain ways. Yeah, exactly. And so basically the premise is this. You have this mute woman. This takes place, back in almost the 30s or maybe 50s?
Mm-hmm.
Probably the 50s. And that's what I thought. And you have this mute woman who is a maid, basically, a cleaning woman in this facility. Almost was like a top secret or government facility. And while she's in this room cleaning, these guys bring in this subject. They call it the asset. And it's just this giant tube of water. She goes over and looks, and there's this hand that pops out. And it's like this reptilian-looking, amphibian-looking hand. And so she ends up going back a few times, and she discovers that it's like this sea creature. It's like a merman, basically.
More or less, it's like Abe's origin story.
Yeah. Looks a lot like Abe Sapien, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's played by Doug Jones.
Yeah, it's like the creature from the Black Lagoon. That's how this thing looks.
And didn't they have boiled eggs, too?
That was a big part of it, yeah.
Because in Hellboy, he liked boiled eggs. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, he did.
Sure did.
But I don't believe it's the same character, though.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Why would they put boiled eggs in it, then?
Yeah.
That's kind of here's the obvious thing. They're handing it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like a boiled egg.
That's a good point. Well, and they did say that this creature came from South America. Did Abe Sapien ever say?
I believe so. They didn't say anything in Hellboy, but as far as his origin story. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Huh. Maybe it is. Anyway, I'm going to have to look into this now. And so what ends up happening is she starts to befriend this creature. She gives him eggs. And it turns out that she learns that they are going to basically kill this creature and kind of find out how it works, what it is, its healing properties it has. It's going to use it for military purposes. And so she then has to try and break this creature out of this facility. And that's basically the plot of the movie. Now, along this, she ends up falling in love with this creature. And it turns into a little bit of a love story, which is interesting. But you kind of buy it because, she says in the film that she's signing, she says, he's the only thing that doesn't look at me and sees the faults. He looks at me as I am.
Yeah. And
accepts me for who I am. And so you kind of buy it. And it's pretty good.
It's been getting really great reviews. I think it was sitting at 93 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And some of the other critics love it.
And I enjoyed it. It wasn't, it's not one that I'll see again, I don't think. But it's worth a watch, especially if you like Del Toro's films and that style. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting, and it really does makes you think.
He is one to put heart into monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is as boiled down at that concept as you can get.
Hard boiled down.
Yeah.
So now out of 5 eggs, how many would you give it? 5 boiled eggs.
I'd give it 2.5.
Okay.
It's definitely worth a watch. But it's definitely not.
It makes its way out this way.
Yeah. I mean, it is not for kids. Let me say that.
Yeah.
It's definitely not for kids. So and there is a few nudie bits. There's some nudie bits in it.
Oh man.
So just be aware. Just letting you know. But yeah,
you're pulling a Disney over here. And they're just hey, we'll make you aware of the reason it's rated the way it is.
It's a public service. But yeah, it's really interesting. That's the biggest thing I can say about this movie. It is interesting, and it makes you think, and it makes you stop and kind of wonder what you would do in this situation. How would you handle this? And
mm-hmm.
yeah, so in that way, it's really good.
Huh. So. The one movie that I did see this week was Insidious: The Last Key. Now this is Elise, and she's got Specs and Tucker. So she's a psychic with her sidekicks, and they got.
Now, really quick, remind me of these Insidious films because I can't remember them.
She's
traveling.
Yeah, she's the one that goes into the further, and that concept I've really liked. You put yourself into a relaxed state of mind, and you can go to the other side. And that's what kind of happened in the beginning. Is the little boy got taken, right? And then she had to go into the further as well as it got kind of cheesy and campy at the very end when the creature's crawling around on the walls after him. So that's the original one. Okay. So with this one, it's kind of it helps to make this one go full circle, and it is a prequel before the beginning. She has to go back to her house where her original house that she left when she was really young because of some really dark events. I thought this one, for one of the Insidious installments, I thought it was pretty decent. They relied too heavily on jump scares, but they did a good job there was this one moment where she's crawling into, it was really funny. because she's got Tucker standing with her and him. They both go down the basement, and then she sees this sewer drain looking thing that they're looking at, and he's like, hold on a second. And he pulls off the drain for her, and he's like, all right, go ahead. As he's just standing there in the light, and he's just like, yeah, there's no way in hell I'm getting inside that drain. So then she crawls into there because she's led there by this string, and she's follows it. Well, it looked more like a hair. It looked pretty gnarly. It was like from It, you know, that little hair that she pulls out of the drain?
Yeah.
Similar to that. And she follows it, and then there's this suitcase, and then she sees like 5 or 6 more I mean, it's ridiculous. But, you think it's going to happen at one moment, and you think it's coming from a certain direction because you're led to, you know how like with like other creature scary movies, you've got the camera that follows the creature. You see things through its eyes, and you can hear it breathing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Through the foliage.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Right? So you think that it's coming this direction, and then you think it's coming this direction, and then it doesn't happen, and then it doesn't happen, and you start getting anxiety because you're waiting for it to actually finally happen. And so it was it was still a jump scare, but it was just like a delayed one. And there was quite a few of those. Overall, I felt like it did tied the whole franchise together because you find out certain things. They had 2 twists. You kind of see how the first one gets started, and then you also, discover some stuff about her past and her family. So overall, I mean, I thought it was all right. I would probably... It's difficult because I really want to see the Del Toro one, and I don't want to like rate it about the same. But it was probably... I don't even know what... Out of, I guess, 5 spirits, I would probably go 2, maybe 2.5. Yeah.
Okay.
So, there you have it.
And then last one I want to talk about is The Darkest Hour.
Man, we're really burning right through these.
Yeah. This is a story, the story of Winston Churchill and his becoming Prime Minister of England in 1940 as the Nazis are basically invading Europe. And Winston Churchill is played by Gary Oldman, who you would not recognize.
No, doesn't even look like him at all.
It is some of the best makeup I've seen in a film in a long, long time.
Think it's a contender?
Well, he probably put on a lot of pounds, too.
He didn't, though.
No?
No. That was all like a fat suit and just makeup.
Wow.
As far as like makeup design goes, you think it's probably going to be a contender?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is weird because I picture him as Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. And so it's him dealing with the pressure of this and trying to cope with being the Prime Minister and trying to basically save England, save Europe.
Yeah. Because, I mean, spoiler alert, America kind of steps into the game, but they step in pretty late to the game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, spoilers. World War II.
But you know what I mean? Like, they were like... And I've always kind of thought that was kind of interesting. I'm like, why didn't we step to that? When we see that people are being persecuted for a race, especially in today's day and age, like, it's difficult for me to kind of fully grasp why we didn't step in sooner. But
and there's actually a great scene in the movie where to get some sort of peace, he goes into the bathroom and calls FDR.
Oh, wow.
And asks for his help, basically. He says, look, do you have any ships or anything that we could use? You have, just like 50, maybe 40 ships. And FDR basically says, sorry, I can't.
Ugh.
It's like there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
But this is a very talky movie. It's one of those that if you took a film class, this is one of the films you'd probably end up watching. There's no action. It's about World War II, but you never see any of the battles. There's a little bit about Dunkirk in there, which kind of turned the tide.
Well, it helped. Other countries rally behind them to the cause.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was his idea, sending out civilian ships. And so that plays a part of it. But really what it focuses on is Churchill's character and the kind of person he was. And this may sound controversial, but he reminded me a little bit of Trump.
Oh, really?
In the fact that he was very irreverent. That he,
he told it like it is.
He did. He was a drunkard. He was drunk most of the time.
So
he wasn't. Wouldn't surprise me.
Drunk with power.
He wasn't afraid to speak his mind. And at the time, that's what people needed, to somebody to rally behind. Because the prime minister before him basically just wanted to say, well, let's do peace talks and just bow down to these guys. And then Churchill was like, no, that's wrong.
It's got to be so difficult because, with so many words, they could start a war, right? And you're playing politics with not just, your lives, but you're playing like high stakes.
Yeah. And I'm sorry for those listeners in England that I compared Churchill to Trump, but you get my point. But it's really good. If you're a film fan, definitely go see this one. I would say if you're a casual film viewer, you might be bored.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's just a lot of talking. That's all it is.
Okay.
But if you're a fan of film and you're a fan of history and you know a little something about World War II, this is definitely going to be interesting. And it seemed pretty historically accurate as far as I could tell.
And it's difficult with those movies because, like we've talked about before, you want to go back and look up stuff, but you're already familiar with the topic itself.
Yeah.
And where do you actually begin when you're looking up that? Like, was he actually this way?
Yeah. So out of 5 fat suits, I would give it probably, as a film fan, I would give it probably 3.5. Almost 4. 3.5.
I thought you were going to say 5.
No. Yeah. Yeah. So it seemed like pretty favorable reviews all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's like what we talked about with Jodie Foster earlier. Like, not to go full circle here, but like, there's so many really good movies out right now,
Yeah.
And there's so much quality.
Yeah.
So basically, just stop whining, Jodie Foster.
Pretty much.
Exactly.
That's pretty much the overall arc of this episode. Stop whining, Jodie Foster.
That's the takeaway.
Yeah. All right. Here's where you can find us. You can listen to all of our episodes at worldwarg.podbean.com. We're also on iTunes and the Google Play Store. Just search World War G. On the social media, you can find us at facebook.com/World War G podcast. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at WWG Podcast. You can find all of our shirts and merchandise designed by Colton at shop.spreadshirt.com/World War G. You can also email us anytime,
day or night,
at worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. So, this has been World War G episode 161. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
And I've been Logan.
Stay geeky, my friends, and stop whining, Jodie Foster.